Hey guys, welcome to Season 1, Episode 7 of the AussieDevs podcast. My name's Eric Hine, and I'm here with Glenn Turner.
G'day, Eric.
Hello. A bit of a special on today's episode. We will be interviewing a couple of game jam-ins. Is that how you call it?
The Game Jammers.
Game jammers.
These guys participated in the recent Global Game Jam, GGJ17 hashtag.
So on this team, we've got Robbie Bryce, Matt House, Gabriel EBS, and Fred Mulholland, along with Gray Sanders, who we've interviewed before. I think it was episode 4.
Yes,
yeah.
Ooh, yeah, something like that. 3 maybe.
Yeah.
One of the early of the piece. These guys all participated in the Global Game Jam, and they created a game, Microwave-o-rama. So have a quick chat to them, talk about how it went, what were the highs, the lows, and
Basically, Global Game Jam stuff.
Yeah.
So just to a brief background on you guys. I know you're a team of 5. There was 2 designers were there and 2 coders, programmers.
You've spoken to Gray a bit, I'm sure. I'm not too sure on what other things Fred's been working on, so if he wants to, he can talk about that.
All the secret stuff.
Other than that, the other 2 guys we had were Matt, who's here with us today. He's
definitely super secret stuff.
The other guy was Gabriel. Unfortunately, Gabriel's not here as well. But he's an artist as well. Yeah. So in my old life,
and Robbie, you were the project
I used to do a lot of project management and
basically
administration and that sort of stuff. So being able to bring those sort of skills into like a game jam sort of area where, trying to keep everyone on track, dealing with all the annoying admin stuff that people don't actually like to do, made me feel like I was helping. So...
Did any of you guys know each other prior to running through the jam?
Together.
So we sort of went into it knowing that knowing each other, and that was good. Gabriel, we met him last year at the Game Jam, but we didn't actually team up with him. This year was a good opportunity to get involved with him and really push the team in that direction.
As well as that, I've known Gray for over 10 years now, so even longer than that. So we grew up in Darwin together, and and I think Fred and Matt.
Me and Fred were mates from TAFE, so
too long.
Went to the Game Jam together and met Gray and Rob, and just went from there. So
that's that's awesome how you guys all met together, and you two meeting up in Darwin. I know there's I don't know if there's a lot of stuff to do in Darwin, but finding someone.
Yeah. It's funny, I just looked across at my missus and she's doing the drinking motion just as you said that.
I guess it's really nice to find someone with similar interests, especially in the game dev space. I know it's quite rare. We're all introverts, so we're uniting separately in our own homes.
I reckon that's a gross stereotype. It takes all sorts. So, you guys participated last year as well, you were saying. So how did you find out about it?
Both found out about
it. Because, I only found out about it on social media this year. I think I kind of vaguely knew it was a thing.
We also, last year as well, did a in-house game jam within TAFE, in our TAFE classes, so we're kind of used to the game jam format in terms of working with teams, but the Global Game Jam is kind of stepping up, meeting other game jams too.
The big league game jam.
That's
the big jam.
International, worldwide
NBA Jam.
Mr. Worldwide.
Right.
So this year was the first time
the whole deal
has
with
done
the
it
game jam
as a whole group. In previous
kind of in
years,
the same room,
it was a north and south area that was hosted at ECU. Both ECU and Murdoch, I think, were the 2 hosts. And this year, it was hosted at SAE in Northbridge.
So this is the first time that we had everyone together in the same place. Yeah. And it was a massive turnout. I think we had an auditorium to seat 80, and we were filled to capacity at the start of the jam.
And standing room at the end only as well.
Yeah. No, actually, SAE were very, very well decked out.
Nowhere to lay on the floor and have a sleep within 48 hours.
The School of Audio and Engineering is SAE, and they had sound booths as in there, plus computer labs, and in amongst there some rooms that were dedicated just for sleeping. So it.
That's awesome. Wow, they actually had
I'd
sleeping
probably spend
room.
my whole time just sleeping.
Hibernating. I'm brainstorming.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know that none of you guys
years,
had to act
when we've done it at ECU,
prop up the
it's just
laptops.
been one large area, which is good and bad
right.
in its own ways. Whereas this year it was split up into sort of labs where you sort of shuffled your team in together, which was a bit different, but not worse at all, I'd say.
So how does that work in terms of, so you're saying before they had sound rooms
really
in different areas?
I also volunteered.
Was there like a
as part
roster,
of it.
or
Basically, we
just
just
called
sort of
divs when you
things
wanted a
up
certain
as they
space?
came up. A lot of guys that were of the audio persuasion spent a lot of time in those rooms. I'm going to give a shout out to Brian Fairbanks, who actually did the music on our game. So they had opportunity to use those rooms. Basically, all throughout, there was at least six audio rooms, so I don't think there was ever anyone sort of fighting for space. It just sort of, everyone just sort of fell into their natural pace very quickly, and there wasn't really much of a battle for any resources. The other thing I've found as well about the game jam sort of environment is everyone knows what you're doing, so like what you're going through, so no one sort of is a bit like, no one's like, I'm using the space now, you can't have it, so
no one's a dickhead.
That's good. Yeah, that's good to know.
It's not like My Kitchen Rules style. It's more,
that is all scripted.
Great British Bake Off style.
It's all dramatized.
Anyway, cool. I suppose, like you said, like-minded people all together at the same place, just to, everyone's there for the same thing. So how does it work in terms of like a brief? You guys are given a brief when you first turn up, right? And then you give it a theme around that, or
speech to everyone. So that covers like who the sponsors are for the year, and who they'd like to thank and so forth. And then right at the end of the keynote, they'll reveal the theme for the game jam, and that's when everyone either cries or cheers and looks shot across the room to your partners and stuff. And then after that, they just one final thank really, and then everyone just goes on their way to the game jam and just kicks off.
As well as that, people who've come without a team afterwards, they normally sort of break out and sort of see who's there doing what, and if they want to join up with anyone, and sort of make an impromptu team on the spot, which is what we did last year, and ended up meeting these two guys, and they jumped onto our team.
That's how you got together. That's really good. That's
I didn't realize that you could just like ride solo and just tack on. I mean, I probably should have read some information. So all right, that's actually really good. So
that's, solo dev friendly, because I know it's kind of hard meeting new mates, but I guess everyone there has similar interests as well, making games. It just makes it easier for them just to join in. And
definitely.
Can you kind of like pour yourself out as well, or like once you join one group, that's what you're saying? The bloke helped you before, hey,
shared across the environment.
Everyone flocks to them like,
Is there a significant? Do you notice a significant split between like the professions? Would there be more? I guess
artists, a good mix of artists and programmers.
Sound
There's always
engineers and whatnot.
A lack of sound people there.
Is it fairly even in that sense?
2 or 3 split between maybe 8 groups or so. So they definitely have a lot of work out for them.
Yeah, so
Okay.
was it? Each person can only create
right. So
one
they
project,
can help
but
multiple
one
groups.
person can be a member of many projects.
That's right.
So on the website, that's the way it works. So you can add multiple people to your project.
Righto.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was waves this year. Like,
So what was this year's
waves
theme?
surfing waves,
Can you
sound waves,
reveal that?
radio waves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, the theme was literally just the word waves by itself. They had like a little
Microwave?
the animation had stuff about, like, it showed like a crowd doing a Mexican wave, and then an actual wave at the ocean, and then radio waves, and then Wi-Fi waves, and all these different things, and then just the word waves. So the way it actually runs as well is when they show that, the idea is that you don't actually talk about it on social media until every single game jam has got to 6:30 p.m. on the Friday night, which the last one to do that is Hawaii. And then once Hawaii has kicked it off, then everyone can talk about it on social media so people don't get spoiled for it, and everyone gets the same 48 hours.
Yeah.
We would have been one of the first people. What are we, +8 per? Cool. So, I mean, when you said waves, the first thing that came to my mind was beach waves. I don't know.
But I like your guys' take on it, because we have been looking at the game that you guys created, Microwave-o-rama. I know, Ray, you've got it on your YouTube.
In programming,
it's pretty
Microwave
slick.
itself.
Fred,
And
you
the
were
player
programming
controls
in
with
Unity as well.
So interacting with the world and picking up things and putting them in said microwave.
The spiel, like the general story behind it is, you know,
What's like
suddenly,
we just said
for
then,
some reason, in
your
charge
game's
of
titled
the latest
Microwave-o-rama.
and
Give us a
greatest
spiel on
of,
it.
like a backroom diner sort of thing. However, everything's broken except your microwave. So all you got to do is microwave stuff and send it out. So it was interesting because we had a lot of ideas on how things would run, and what you find with a game jam, you have all these lofty ideas and exactly how, what you want to happen and things, and then you end up cutting features slowly at first and then very rapidly towards the end until you've got something you can present. So there are plenty of ideas that didn't make the cut, but I'm pretty happy with what we ended up with at the end of the 2 days anyway.
Yeah.
I can imagine, how difficult it would be, because if you've listened to the podcast before, I'm always the one talking about all these crazy ideas. Like, I'll come up with all the far-fetched things. I'm like, we should have these features, and we could do this, and like even just with us messing around in our spare time,
so
we find out that none of this is actually possible at the moment with our current skill level and time frame. I can imagine 48 hours that's pretty insane.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, how long did it take you to really close in on that idea?
We cut, after the thing, we sat down and we threw ideas around back and forth, and we had some more mechanical ideas of games and things, and we just kept on at some point. I was actually
my wife.
Gray sent a message to his wife saying, this is the theme, have you got any ideas? And she came back with microwaves, and the moment that came back, whenever we were talking about stuff, it just kept bouncing back to the microwave. So we got to the point where we just sat down and we said, look, we have a choice now. We can either keep talking about this, or we can just go with the microwave idea. And we ended up going with the microwave idea.
Often at game jams, the silliest idea ends up floating to the top, and in this case, it did. 2 years ago, we actually we had the first time we actually did it. We had a large group, and one of the ideas that came up was wood chopping. Just basically, you just go around and chop wood, and we laughed at it at first because it was a stupid idea. The theme was, what do we do now? It was a very open-ended thing. And we thought, it's a silly idea, we won't do it. This year, but we ended up doing it. We had 2 people split off, they did it, they made wood chopping simulator, and it was the best game that came out of our larger group. But this year, when we saw the silly idea, I think experience taught us that it's often not to be completely negated. You do need to really consider it. And it floated to the top, and we just said, let's go with it, and we did.
Yeah, we just worked out a little concept on how it actually turned that idea of a microwave into a game, and gave a few sort of thoughts about how you deal with different states and actually giving objectives and that sort of thing, and how you'd progress the gameplay, and then ended up with what we got. So.
Being someone who's experienced a lot of microwavable food, I think it's kind of crazy how you think it's a silly idea, but a lot of people actually go through it, and they still want to play games similar to that. So
have you played the bread game? Is it I Am Bread or something on Steam? Oh man, like that's a crazy game. You really slice of bread and you've got to like navigate the toaster. And the controls, man, are such a hard game to play.
You'd expect it to be hard.
But then you just want to beat it. It's one of those things where you just must get to the toaster.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that though, like, weird controls, everyone plays those sort of games. Like, with the microwave game for us, were wandering around getting dinner that night thinking about these, like, serious game ideas, top-down tower defense, like, post-apocalyptic survival, and the whole time I just kept thinking microwave. Yeah.
Damn, I'm hungry.
It's an idea that sticks.
Like you're saying, there's so many ideas being thrown around and stuff like that, and you sort of said, in the end, okay, it's either this or we keep on discussing. How did you guys go as a team
it was
in
more,
making those decisions?
We got to a
Robbie,
point where we had
project
3 or 4
management
good
there.
ideas
Did you
we could
kind of
work with, and then we said,
say, all right, guys,
let's go get
we
some
have to
food,
move on,
when we come back, we'll talk about where we're at. And everyone came back, and everyone had pretty much said, well, I like the microwave idea, so we just stuck with that. So like it was, I think it was unanimous. I think everyone was just like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do this. It seems like fun. So we just carried on with it. You really got to nail down your concept really quickly.
I think that's it. You just have to take the step as well. If everyone agrees to something like that, with that time limit, 48 hours.
I've done similar things to this, not at all in game dev, but just in sort of a work environment. And if you treat it too much like a democracy as well, sometimes I find things can drag out even further, and you kind of almost need to just go, this is 2 options, we're going with this one or this one, bang. Because especially in 48 hours, you don't have time to faff around, basically.
So as project manager,
unfortunately, as well
you
as
find yourself having to step in and
also
just make an executive decision on some
which
features
meant that
or
a lot of the
aspects
things that I wanted to go in didn't get to make it. So I think it was more of I was able to take we can't do that, we'll put it on the back burner list, and turn that into a list of actual things to put on the back burner, rather than saying, no, we have to do this. We were able to work together quite well. I've worked with Gray quite closely as to what we thought we could get done within the 48 hours, and say, focus on this, get this next part done, get this next part done, and then once it's all together, we'll look and see if we've got any extra time to put stuff in.
I was just going to say that there is a phrase that you have to say at a game jam, and that's MVP, or minimum viable product. And it's something I say a lot. The guy's probably sick of hearing me say it, but it is literally.
Yes, I was just about to say that as well.
You get your list and you slash it to pieces, and you start
one
and then you go from there. And for a long time there, we looked like we were going to get all of these stretch goals in, and at the end, I think we just got MVP in.
It's funny because we were joking about. Oh, sorry, mate. We were just joking about how microwave game, that's gonna be piss easy. We're gonna smash this through, and everything looks like it. Right at the end, we're like, crap, we only just got a working microwave.
So what's the premise of the microwave as well?
So the idea was that it would work in
to get a certain amount of
phases.
Orders
so
in, something like that. Is that kind of
like a
the way
list
you
of
guys are
goals
working with it?
Things that pop up on the chalkboard there, and then you'd start, it might be like 3 popcorns, so you have to microwave 3 popcorns. Each object that went in the microwave had a curve of how long it should stay in the microwave for, and depending on where you microwaved it got different values for when you threw it into the dumbwaiter. Yeah. But yeah.
So you could bang it out before.
One of the other
chuck it
ideas that we had was combinations of food to go in.
Lava on the outside, throw it in the middle.
There was if you put like chips and a hamburger in, it would come out as like a McDonald's meal or burger meal sort of thing. And we had all the recipes down and how they would all work, but we didn't actually get into implementing.
Wow.
Yeah. One of the fun ones on that was a critic's meal. So like you just took your TV dinner and you put a wad of cash on top of it, and you serve that to the critic to get your good ratings.
That's quite good.
I really like the art style for that game as well. It kind of reminds me of Octodad. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's basically a base.
Yeah, so Gabriel did the.
I know Matt yourself and Gabriel.
I was more on the
artwork. Is that your typical style?
We sort of I had to talk to Gabriel just before we started cracking on, and I said, well, we should really figure out our palette before we continue on, and then so I'm not making so we looked up 70s sort of color retro palettes and stuff. We found one that we just couldn't keep our eyes on. So he started basing the room around these designs. I thought, I can make TV dinners that would look similar and would suit it, and it just worked together really well with that. To be honest, Gabriel was smashing out the assets, and I was digging through the prop list, just getting stuff done as well. So yeah, it was great.
Originally,
it looks really good. That checkered floor really gets me. That's like
it
captures. Now you mentioned it,
switched it over to the vertical stripes.
Have people throwing up as they're like padding around the room. That's something I was just thinking before as well. Like I suppose yourself and Matt and Gabriel, both 2 people doing art, and then also Fred and Gray, you guys both doing programming. How did you guys go with the division of labour? Did at the start you kind of just go, I want to do this, and you can do that, or how does it flow?
The majority of the time. From the coding side, Fred and I were able to sort of just quickly suss out what components we could do. I looked at doing the game cycle, so having a game manager object that basically controls what phase of the game, and I worked on the orders, and as Fred already sort of talked about, he was working on the character controller and the microwave controller. So those components we were able to sort of divide. I think Robbie was able to get involved in the process and sort of work out what was needed from the art asset side. So he was basically designing the products and saying, well, this is the kind of products that we're going to have. And one of the key things to a good global game jam is being organised. One of the things that Robbie teed up beforehand was a Slack channel, which tip for young players, get out there, get a Slack channel if you're working with a big team.
Yes.
Being able to use BusyBot, I think, was the add-on that basically assigns tasks. So you're able to.
Yeah, Slack's good.
Robbie was able to put in a pineapple, a microwave dinner and things like that. And as the guys finished them off, they were able to basically just go in there and tick it off. We're able to drop the files in there so that we could pick them up and pull them into the Unity build, and go from there. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That sounds like something we should get.
Yeah.
Like I've used Slack before at work.
There's plenty of good
off-site.
Slack extensions.
It's pretty handy to have.
Yeah,
We're learning something new.
Was another really good one.
Would recommend Trello. Super handy.
I did have one set up for us, but we didn't end up using it in the end. So
yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. That's really good to hear that, organisation is key to that, and a whole bunch of free apps that allow you to do
Well,
it. So.
even then, I wouldn't
like,
say
the best thing about a global game jam is being organised.
if you're not a
I've already gone. Hey,
as long as you've got
skills,
someone on your
not
team
there.
who's able to sort of break it down into, this is what we need you to work on right now. Like, we had sort of an accelerated stand-up as well. So every 4 to 6 hours we did a quick stand-up meeting, which is, I don't know if you've ever done sort of Scrum development or anything like that. Like a stand-up meeting is agile and Scrum and all of that fun stuff. If it's called a stand-up meeting because the idea is you actually want to stand up so that it's
Agile.
uncomfortable, so you just want to get through it quickly. And the things you talk about is you talk about what you've just finished, what you're working on now, what you're working on next, and
Fair enough.
working on things. And you just sort of go around in a circle, say all of those things, and then so that everyone knows sort of where everyone's at. And if you need something from someone, you can just say to them, I need this from you, and they can prioritize it. So it's a good way to make sure that the project ticks along nicely.
Yeah.
That's really impressive, yeah.
I was really confused when I got an email a while ago about Scrum training, and I used to play rugby, and I was like, why am I getting
I'd just like to
emails
point out one thing,
about
though,
Scrum training?
as
I don't
Robbie
play
said, you
anymore.
are
Like, and then I opened it up.
the last one we
Not
did
that Scrum.
was completely sat down because we were at that point. The sit down with a coffee, because I don't know if many of us had the energy at that point. We were, I think, 4 or 5
Like the old stand-up, sit-down
from
meeting.
the last push, but it was the last push at that point, so it was taken a little easier.
Towards the end, Gray was running on fumes. That's for sure.
Wow.
Intravenous
Yeah,
coffee.
that's what I really wanted to figure out was how taxing
16 to 18.
jam, and would you guys work 12, 14
Yeah,
hours of
from
the day?
my personal experience, as I said, so I was on the door until
16 to 18, so it
48
was
straight.
really intense.
After that, the first
So
night I went home,
you'd work, sleep.
probably crashed about 2:30, 3 o'clock. Was up on my own at 6:30 before my alarm, at least half an hour, and I was like, why am I wide awake? And then I remember it's Global Game Jam, and I love it. It's my Christmas. And so I'm up on 4 hours sleep on the first night. I think I'll get some naps during the day. No, that doesn't happen. I'll get a nap overnight. Yep, go and have a nap. Only 2.5 hours. Unfortunately, got the sleeping room that had the snorer, so it was a little bit of a hard sleep. But hey, look, I was tired enough that I did get some sleep. But yeah, that last part of the day, you really do struggle.
Yeah, I found personally, first night went home, had a good sleep, crack on in the morning, like no worries. Then I'm telling myself the whole day, I'll do an all-nighter. You can do it. Comes like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, nah. So I went into the sleeping room. It's just a cold, hard floor. It's not much different. So got like 4 hours. Got like 4 hours sleep, and then just woke up. Thought, right, back to it.
Yeah.
The sleeping room.
Like roll your jumper up as a blanket.
Wow.
It's like I remember seeing something around make sure you bring food, and then and drinks, and then it's like got in captions water. I imagine there'd be heaps of people there smashing the Red Bulls, but trying to do that for 2 days.
Yeah.
You're not going to end up very well, eh?
So you guys, they had a cafeteria there for you, obviously, to cater for some food. What was your diet like?
With us being close to the sea, I kind of
It's
just
just
wanted
like
every now and
random
again,
stuff
man, got some
there,
food. Either
eating
Subway or
I think helps,
what
yeah.
else did we get, Matt?
You got a Mexican wrap or something?
Yeah, it's got random burrito wraps all Subway.
Yeah, what's it called? Fringe was on that weekend, so they had like all the food trucks and stuff out in Florida. As well as that, the organisers actually did catering as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you could order a breakfast and a lunch each day.
Yep.
And it was good food. It was like a salad with chicken or like a ham and salad roll or something like that. So you didn't have to think about it. It just someone came around and said the food's here. You go in, you get your food, and it was good. I'm a big believer. Yeah, I'm a big believer in not if you're trying to do something, you need to keep your
Put it into your mouth
you
hole.
can't just eat junk food sort of thing. you really need to, because otherwise you just get your sugar spikes and you rise and crash and you just playing games maybe trying to do anything a bit more intense with your mind.
Mountain Dew and Doritos. Yeah. I actually read this article a little while ago, and it was like a sports physiologist or sports scientist about looking into esports gamers and how this biggest thing was their diet is crap.
That's a big thing.
And
in
if
Korea,
they actually ate better,
like
they
all
would
Korean
be
gaming houses
they'd be more successful at esports. It was quite an interesting article.
It's actually starting to break into the US gaming houses as well for League of Legends and Dota and that sort of thing. All the teams
it sounds crazy, but it's true. Like
sports psychologists and things like that to actually work on the decision making process and things rather than just I'll go out there and play games. Ish. Like you. So there's big money.
There's big money in it.
Very small number of people.
Yeah. Well, if you're good, get good. Like the rest of the states. We won't go into that.
So I guess for maybe 2000.
I wouldn't say no.
The next game,
I think
you guys
the catered food is probably enough. Like just making sure something that isn't just
serving you up.
Eric asking the hard
I
want to
probably be doing that.
I could make
down the way. Like personally, I
Your
was
oranges
going through some assets and look at the clock 1 minute and then look again, and you think it's been maybe an hour and 3-4 hours have passed. You think, shit, I've been sitting here for that long, but you just keep going. And then with the scrums, you get up, you move around, you realize, like, geez, this is important. So,
You're volunteering for that for next year, eh?
Maybe the next level is a masseuse.
Eric's got everything.
You have a neck rub while you
got the whole cheerleading squad.
Yeah, it's I'm a masseuse.
Mate, it's called me Midas, mate. You probably have the biggest queue, I reckon. So, I mean, you mentioned before there's a whole bunch of people there, and also said that on Friday.
So I believe 13 games are going to be shown out of the
showcasing
26 that were made
or talking about all the games that
it's
people
going to
made.
be, as per usual, at Nostalgia Box, I think from 6 o'clock. And it'll be an 18 plus event, so you will be able to have a drink while you play some of these silly games, which most of the time you will kind of need to really get Microwave Simulator. Microwave-o-rama, my apologies. So yeah, it'll this Friday. It's the
Microwave-o-rama.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone out there that's got the time, feel free to come down. You can get tickets through the playoutperth.org, I think is the site, and they are $10 for non-FTI members, $7 for FTI members. Come down if you're free.
My suggestion would be to buy a ticket online.
That's
I tried to turn up to one a couple of months ago, and they were like, "No, we're full," and I had to wait like an hour and a half to get in. It was crazy. Yeah, well, I just assumed that like no one would be there. It's sounding really bad, but you know what I mean. Like,
you guys obviously have your own projects, your personal projects and stuff like that. I guess moving on from the Global Game Jam,
a lot of the stuff I'm working on is actually
for the
my
next one.
actual day job. So I'm working.
Robbie, do you have anything
at the moment called
you're currently
TADWA,
working
which
on?
is Technology Assisting Disability (WA). So we do sort of home modifications and technological things for people. So like for people in wheelchairs, we'll install a button on their wheelchair that opens their front door. So currently, I'm just looking after the computers and the IT network, but just this week I was approached my boss and I'm going to start doing a lot more actual product development work with the electricians, excuse me, the other makers, I guess I'd call them, because we've got like a CNC milling machine, a couple of 3D printers, and just actually making and coming up with ideas for new products rather than just looking after their computers.
Yep. Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Good.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool organisation. Like I'd heard of similar things. I don't think I'd particularly heard of this one before, but that's awesome.
Yeah, just keeping up with technology,
kind
of thing, and making it a lot more accessible for people.
Isn't there a help desk for people with disabilities as well? So. Yeah, that's actually what there is.
There's also a company, I'm not sure, I've just heard of it before, that do like game controllers and stuff for people with disabilities.
He and I have just been working on an Xbox 360 controller that we've converted to be the internals of the controller are now in a joystick rather than a controller. And the joystick has extra buttons that we installed on the sides of it. So the hi-hat on the top of the joystick is the right analog stick. The joystick itself is the left, and it has all of the triggers and face buttons along the sides of the joystick. So it can all be used one-handed.
Very nice. Very nice.
Sweet. Because, like, you don't ever, you get told, we work in the mining industry, and, you get told about, we've done the whole thing where you tape up, or you tie all your fingers together and tape your hand up and stuff, and then, you've got to go around doing everyday things, tying shoes and stuff like that, but what you don't have to think about is, how am I going to play games? the real important things.
Gaming name. But he has no arms and no legs and plays Street Fighter V with his face. So
yeah.
So if you're interested, check him out. It's pretty cool stuff.
Wow.
I can't even play it, and wow.
Rolly legs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, random. Did you see the Japanese Olympics? All their mascots are anime. Oh, it's wicked! I was just like, it's only Japan. Like, of course we're gonna do that. Well, when they announced in Japan we're gonna host a game, didn't the Prime Minister?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Come out out of president. Sorry, come out of the a tube dressed as Mario.
Wow, that's tape actually.
And,
I used to do a game course
Matt,
a few years
do you have any projects
and,
you currently working
the
on?
lecturers started up a new one where we can go in and use their computer labs, but also gain access to them as mentors. So we can just work on our own project, and if we reach a snag or something, or we just need a bit more advice, we can just reach out. So that's given me a great excuse to start up a project I've been wanting to do for years now, a bank heist game. So full on, case the joint, plan it out, and then execute it. So before that, I was working on Corporate Combat, which is my side view fighting game set in a office space. And I showed it off at Perth Games Festival last year. Yeah, well,
nice.
Yeah, and I've gotten good feedback from that, which is great. But I think now's the time for me to just move on to my new project and that one. So bit of a change in pace, I guess, for now.
Yeah. Cool.
That's very cool. A corporate combat sounds very cool. Like, you'd want to do that at work.
Yeah, just because you can think of the people at work that you want to beat up. And, yeah, sometimes you just want to do it anyway.
No, so that's
did that one with TAFE.
That TAFE course that you were doing
with Fred as well.
We
started out in
that was the actual course.
2013
with Cert 3, I think.
It's like a Cert 3 and 4 year-long thing.
Yeah, we did digital media for Cert 3 and 4.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, we could either do games or animation, and I mean, of course, we did games, but and then that moved on to advanced deployment as well, and finishing that, we're technically qualified to make games now. So
Yeah.
but it all comes down to experience, I guess. So.
Wow. Yeah.
Sweet. So
yeah.
we kind of spoke about this on a
Yeah,
previous
we did.
podcast around.
Vet help.
Yeah, they've now changed the vet help fee system. So
Yeah,
I don't
so
know
I'm
whether
not sure about Fred for this
that
one, but
affected you guys
personally, I had
personally,
to
or
apply for vet
if
fee
it
help.
really had any effect
And
on
at the
courses
time,
you
they
guys
bumped
doing?
up TAFE prices for no reason at all that we could see. And so that sort of affected how much we owe back for vet fee help. But with this new course, the lecturers sort of done it in a way where we pay absolute minimum just so we can get in there. So that was pretty cool of him. But I don't know if Fred was affected by the vet fee help.
I had the vet fee help as well. I'm bad with money, so I don't really pay attention to this.
Just want to make games, damn it.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, games and technology, they've kind of kept on the list of things that they're sort of supporting. I don't think it's really going to affect people too badly, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's going to be any more effects to people. Like, I think it wasn't SAE, but it was the other college that was going to open a Perth campus, and they've delayed that now to see how this is going to affect them.
Yeah. I guess it's delayed a few of those things.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
interesting.
I think they ran
IG.
weird half
Remember.
half semester
AI,
courses last
yeah,
year just to
yeah.
test the waters in Perth.
Yes, the other one. This is SAE. And then the other one. Yeah. But anyway, hopefully it doesn't have an effect on people or negative effect on people sort of studying games and technology. 'Cause that'd be dumb.
Like I've recently just gone back to Cape for that alumni course thing.
Yeah, Fred yourself, you're
I'm
still
working on a
programming away.
2D
You've got a few
platformer
projects on the
thing with my girlfriend, who's an artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's any arguments, I have to just completely agree with her.
Awesome.
Couples of dev together.
One of the things they made during our last year at TAFE, they made this
Yeah.
weird arcade machine
You were wrong.
with pressure lifts or
That-
something in it. I don't think anyone ended up making a game for it, but I'm really tempted to try and make something with that. Like a weird, I don't know, mech tank game where you move around and there's cockpit and how she moves around.
Oh,
wow.
kind of like Dead Man
Well,
Switch
I think-
type things.
is it more like a hydraulic
trains in terms
seat?
of you got to
Yeah,
press
so
the
it's like a hydraulic
down.
seat system.
Is that what you mean? I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Pressure sensitive pads.
Oh,
okay.
Puts
Yeah,
you in
gotcha.
the pilot position kind of thing, and you. Is it like a?
Do you remember back when arcades were still a thing?
Yeah,
You
and
used to be able to
special.
play MechWarrior in those. It was always real expensive to play. And I never had enough money
All
to
the
play.
tokens, man.
Yeah, it was you were oh, it's $5 to play. What?
Yeah, that would be really cool. And,
I never really got into Mech.
Absolutely, a little bit lost as
Just
still plugging
personally.
away.
And you're
just-
still working on
Just some recent milestones.
your
I've
Voxel
got to the
game,
point
Greg.
where infrastructure-wise,
A little bit
networking
lost.
will be
Yeah.
a thing.
yeah.
Figure out
It may be limited in that being that I'm a solo developer, my intention is to basically support local multiplayer only. I mean, if people want to do online and stuff like that, I'll that can be a thing when I'm making money and I can actually afford to do stuff with it. Yeah. For now, it's in. I've basically got quite a few
When you can
of the
afford to
large
eat.
components switched over to network now. The next couple of months basically just need to get the ants and the spiders working over the network. And then basically from there, it's going to be, again, a content grind of putting new things in. Last time we talked about, after our interview, we talked about my goal was to have the ants, the spiders, and every so often an event with maybe a wasp. That's still the goal, but now it's going to be there with networking. And at the moment, I'm looking towards maybe June to get that all squared away.
Yeah.
And I want to really have a really polished product for PGF this year.
Oh, cool.
He is. I'm not really happy with the art on him, but
Yeah,
I'm happy with
really
the model himself. It's the
So
texture.
the peacock spider's all
still
ready to
experimenting.
roll.
I managed to purchase an asset through the Unity asset store, which is fantastic. To do the fur. So it's looking like a hairy spider, which is quite nice.
The old asset
So
store.
I just need to really try and spend some time experimenting with the art and getting it to a point that it might not be the final product, but at least it would be something that I'm happy with for now, until I can either, like I say, afford somebody to come and help. So. It's crazy. Like we've had plenty of
Some of
redbacks
that shit
around
is
the house.
same bug.
I don't let my wife. My wife goes, "There's a redback," and I'm like, "Don't kill it yet." And I race out there with the camera and get all of these photos of different angles. I am one of those crazy bug people, I guess.
Take some photos, yeah. Yeah.
It's good to hear that you guys are all busy working away. I guess Global Game Jam really brings you guys together every so often, at least once a
I
year.
guess
So
it's something.
you guys
we
consider
definitely be all
making
keen
something
to do
together.
It's about aligning
like out of the
schedules
jam?
is probably the biggest problem. Being personally a little bit lost is that my everything outside of my normal 9 to 5 job. Hopefully my wife didn't hear that bit. She's my everything, So it becomes a really big challenge to find a project that's not going to be too
Everything
big,
wanted everything.
that it consumes too much time. I get involved in things like the level 1 co-working space days, where it's not so much about necessarily working with people, but being able to work with people around is a way of describing it. And you can talk about ideas and still help each other overcome obstacles without actually working on the same project at the same time. And I think that's something that we are Matt and Fred and I went last week, and it was a good opportunity to sort of chat about what we're working on, and if there was any problems, and it's a great thing to be a part of. Yes, that was Wednesday last week because of Australia Day, but I think the intent is for it to be
still every Thursday,
as well as having
every
fortnight, I think. But they're still firming up how often they want to do that because it is very popular, so it may be weekly.
Yeah, wow, that'd be really good. I'm going to New Zealand in about a week or so, and I think you saw it, Gray, but I kind of hit up their game association, and they've sent me a list of their events they're having. So I'm hoping to try and just pop into one and just see how different they are.
Practice your accent, then.
I want to do some games out. But they have a heap of events all over, like weekly meetups in a whole bunch of cities, which is quite surprising to me, just off the cuff. Not really thinking about it, but yeah.
So the actual game industry
try and get to a few of
a lot
those.
bigger over in
See
Melbourne.
one maybe. See if
Melbourne especially. I'm not sure about Sydney, but I went to PAX last year. Matt and Gray were there as well, and you should just go. This year, just go. But
we were talking about going
because they've got the Unity Unite there as well.
We're going next year.
I know
This year.
and I know of a few people who studied sort of game-related things in Melbourne who have gone on to big things. Like one of them is now living in Malaysia with a group of, and they run like a mobile games company. I'm not sure how well he's doing. And another guy I know, he's now living in Amsterdam working on game-related stuff, but I can't remember. He used to work for that other indie store that's not itch.io.
GOG.
No, it started with a D, I think.
Disera?
Disera, yeah. He used to work with them, but apparently they weren't good to work with.
Well, hopefully when you're in New Zealand, one of the people that I met at PAX or groups of people was the people behind a game. I can't remember the exact name, but the studio is Lost Goblin, and basically it's a bit of a strategy sort of game. So hopefully you get an opportunity to meet those guys. They were like, their game looks really, really solid. So give them that little shout out.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. That would be a. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at it today.
It's such a pretty looking
alpha.
game. I got to play it for a little bit. I was
it looks real cool. Definitely. Yeah.
Hopefully the opportunity comes up
really?
to get to meet him one day.
Yeah, it looks real cool. Yeah, no, I'm actually really hyped for that game. Yeah, well, it'd be cool to get like even just some audio snippets, talking to some people over there, and just chuck it up, just see what the differences are.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to find out. The comparison between Australia and New Zealand.
We don't obviously compare against New Zealand often, so
they usually
in like everything else. So if people do want to hit you guys up, to maybe work with you on something or just see what you guys are up to, what's probably the easiest way?
So that will be the easiest way to get hold of me is littlebitlossgame.com or at
website as well. So it's a little bit lost. We'll share that.
People can just get in contact with me on
as well.
Twitter.
What about yourself, Fred? Have you got any way people can get in contact with you? Yep.
I'm too lazy to change it to my real name yet.
Yep.
Probably through Twitter. That's probably the easiest for me. My is at @m_Hulse. So that's HALSE, like false with a H.
That's how you pronounce your last name. I was like, House.
Unfortunately, I haven't got around to doing like a legit portfolio. Probably my best bet for that one is I think it's a blogger website. Jeez, it's been a while now. It's like matthorse.blogger or Matthew. I don't know. I'll post it on my Twitter. So.
I mean, that's right.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys are keen to, or if you do put stuff up there, just shout out to us and we can share it.
I'm on Twitter as well, but not particularly active.
Yeah, spread the word.
Just at Braindance.
And Robbie, mate, how people get in contact with you? Yep. Nice.
I love that. Happy dance, guys.
Appreciate you guys taking the time on a Wednesday afternoon or evening to.
It's a school night.
Yeah. I got to go to school tomorrow. Some of you guys might have to actually.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us all.
Appreciate you guys taking the time to have a chat, and hopefully we see you guys at the next Global Game Jam.
Yeah.
We're in my office that has a bar, so yeah.
No worries.
You guys gonna just drink it up now? Or?
I am living the game dev life. Apart from still having a nice life, I'm trying to get everything set up for that life.
Right, guys. Thanks again for your time, and we'll see you guys around the scene.
Thanks for listening to this episode, guys. All the resources will be available on our website, AussieDevs.com.
On the line.
Hit us up at AussieDevs, at AussieDevs on Twitter if you guys have any gaming queries or just want to reach out to the guys we've interviewed today.
Or if you alternatively want to come on the show and chat about any projects that you're currently working on.
No worries. This is us signing out.
Catch ya.